Hey guys, Kilade here. Welcome to my hero Kil'jaeden kill/commentary video. Right above my head, you can check out the talents that I use for this fight. So right here, right as we pull the boss, we're going to use Battlecry right away since if you have Conversion of Fates, you'll generally have your Battlecry up for the first set of ads. So don't use anything else. Don't use your Avatar, your Moonglaze, or Odin's Fury. Save them for the ads. Right away, you see this immediate impact. There'll be little orange circles on the ground. You need all of these to be soaked. If one is not soaked, you will get massive raid-wide AoE damage. So right here, there's three debuffs that go out for reflecting dread reflections, and this is for eruption ads. And for this, right, you drop them in melee. Once the ads are down, you pop all your AOE. So for this specifically, since I haven't made a guide on this really, Moonglaze lasts 8 seconds, and your Battlecry only lasts 7 seconds, and the last tick of Moonglaze does the most amount of damage. So you want to use your Moonglaze pretty much a second, like 1.1 second before you use Battlecry. That way the last tick of Moonglaze can't be buffed by your Battlecry. So the next mechanics that you guys are going to see is called Rupturing Singularity. What's going to happen is that Kil'jaeden is going to summon this black orb, and essentially when it reaches the ground, it'll just knock everybody away. So if you're too close to the edge of the platform, you'll just get knocked off. But luckily for us warriors, every time we get knocked back, we can just instantly charge while we're mid-air. And then once you reach 80%, the transition phase will begin. You will have these flame circles that you guys have. Just walk out away from the raid with them. The flame circles on heroic and normal don't do that much damage, so it's not horrible if you get hit by somebody else's. So don't die to not get hit, right? It's just you don't want to have too many overlapping. This also right here, focus dread flame. Kil'jaeden will target one member and shoot a beam through that member. Now everybody that gets hit will share a set amount of damage, but if you're within 5 yards of each other, you will spread the damage. So you want to line up, but you don't want to stack up, right? So don't be too close. So right there, I was probably closer to one other person, and we kind of splashed on each other. But it's not a huge deal, especially on heroic and normal. It's relatively forgiving as long as you don't horrendously mess up. It's fine. And of course, always soak those little orange spheres. Make sure that all of them are soaked. And there's small ones and there's big ones. The big ones are going to be reserved for generally your tanks or anybody with immunity to soak them. Now we lost here because we're trying to push the ad, or sorry, we're trying to push Kil'jaeden to 40%, which will cause him to transition again to phase 3. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that, you'll see. So reflections come out again. I'm getting ready with my AoE on my cooldowns. Once they pop down, you're going to see me use my Moonglaze. Second later, I'll use my Battlecry, Rampage, right, Odin's Fury, and Whirlwind the ads. These ads go down really quickly since I have all of my cooldowns and we're using Lust, so everybody else is doing massive damage too. So he also does Dread Flames starting while he's downstairs too now. While Kil'jaeden is down, the way that our raid does it is melee doesn't soak the beams except our two rogues. That way you don't have too much of that beam splashing around in melee. And then once Kil'jaeden is flying up in the air and in transition phase, that's generally when we'll have melee soak the beams because you're literally not doing anything in the transition phases. And that's a key note, right? During the transition phase, Kil'jaeden takes 99% less damage. So pretty much there's no point in DPSing him. You literally are just there to do mechanics. So there's another whaling ad, and this one is cast on the tank. Similar to other ads, you just want to burn it down ASAP. Pretty much all the ads on this phase, the instant they come out, you want to kill. Once again, focus Dread Flame again, all the melee move out, so only the range have to soak it. Except for our rogues, of course. Now, and again, once he knocks you back, charge right back in. Get your trigger finger ready to charge back in at will. There's going to be a lot of kind of charge mechanics on this fight. And of course, I'm always watching the duration and how much time is left before the ad spawns, right? So here you see I have that bursting circle, so I'm getting out. But I'm always looking at the right where I can see reflection erupting. That's when the ad spawn. 17 seconds. Now, currently on Bigwigs, the timer is for when the debuff goes out. When the debuff goes out, the ads don't spawn right away. So if you see that you have 20 seconds left on, the spell going out, you know that you have more than that, right? Because he has to put the debuff out, and then people have to get the debuff, and then it procs. So you have some time. And generally, if you have a Moonglaze, the cooldown on Moonglaze pretty much lines up with every single ad spawn. You literally are able to use Moonglaze for every single time that these ads spawn. Now, these set of ads are relatively difficult because there's low amounts of cooldowns here, and we don't have Lust anymore, so there's massive damage that goes out. If we can kill them before that cast that they got off, that would be nice, but unfortunately we didn't. But luckily, we were prepared now for that. So the boss reaches 40%, and he starts summoning these ads. You have to really pay attention to where these ads are starting, because he'll completely blind you, but the ads will still be in the same place. And you have to find Illidan, and he'll give you a buff for around 18 seconds, I think, and that'll let you see and DPS these ads. Now, one cool thing about Illidan is that if you have any hunters in your raid and they can track humanoids, they'll actually see Illidan on their minimap. So you guys saw when we first started, there were pings on our minimap, and that was our hunters ping where Illidan was. So if you guys have hunters in your raid, you definitely want to make sure that they're tracking humanoids because it will help you find Kil'jaeden. It'll help you find Illidan much, much faster. Once all of the Shadow Souls are killed, you'll begin phase 3, transition phase will be over, and you guys can come here and start DPSing the boss. Once you're in phase 3, you can actually just pop all your cooldowns. There's no ads spawn in phase 3 on heroic / normal. So I could have popped my cooldowns a couple of seconds earlier there, but no big deal. And now in phase 3, there's some new mechanics and there's also some mechanics that actually go away. You guys will see soon there's going to be obelisks that spawn and also flaming orb. First obelisk you can see right there on essentially on that purple marker right there. What it does is that once they all spawn, they explode, they'll all shoot out, you know, in a cross shape essentially. So you just want to dodge as many as you can. And then unfortunately I got hit by one into the other, so I got hit by two, but it's okay, it's heroic, not a big deal. And then for the flaming orb, what happens, you guys will see in 10 seconds, what happens is that it'll look very similar to the before where you were soaking in meteors. The animation looks very similar, but what it'll do is that it'll drop randomly in the raid, and then when it falls, it'll pick the closest raid member and it'll latch on them. So you guys see that there on the back left, the orb will fall and it will latch on to the closest raid member. Once it touches them, it'll create that flame patch. So if the orb spawns in melee, you want to make sure your melee are kind of walking out. We are trying to have our hunters come in to soak it, but we still have a few people that don't realize what the orb does. So you can see that's why we're getting them popped right in the middle of the room, unfortunately. But no big deal. Progression fight. If some raid members die, perfect. That just means more Juggernaut stacks for us, right? So right here in phase 3, you're gonna always pretty much always have that. You guys see in the corner that green little area. So that area will do constant taking damage, but the cast that he just cast off, when he finishes that cast, it'll pretty much kill you. But if you're in that zone, you won't die. So you want to get in that zone at the last second that is possible, especially as a Fury Warrior. You know, as you're building your Juggernaut stacks, you want to keep building stacks right before the cast goes off. You want to make sure you hero leap into the safe zone. When he finishes the cast, charge right back into the boss. Now, of course, you guys have to don't be too greedy with the hero jump charge. I mean, I was pretty much as greedy as possible right there because I was like charge and then that was a leap out and charge back in. But just a reminder for hero leaps, the way that your position is calculated is that until you land, the game still thinks you are where you leap from, right? So like if you leap from here over to here, it won't register you being over here until you completely finish the leap. Just so you guys know that, okay? The rest of the fight is relatively easy. I mean, we're just dodging obelisks, and then you're making sure that as melee, you're not the closest to the orbs, unless that was your job to soak the orbs. Now, he still does Dread Flames on this fight, but we're still doing a very similar thing where we have just our range soak it, so not a big deal if you're melee, and at least for us. Getting pretty close down to 3%. And one big thing is I'm always tracking my Rage of the Valadar procs now. You guys can see that in my weak auras in the bottom right. When I see I have higher stacks of those procs, I'll know my crit chance is higher. So that's when I'm more likely to hit those Bloodthirst and get that crit. And you can see the boss is killed right there. And apparently there's an assault in Azuna. But as always, hope that was helpful to you guys. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Feel free to subscribe to this channel to see more content. And here's a bonus clip and kind of a warning if you do decide to use any Mantis runes for this fight. See ya.
Invalid target when I try to use it? What?
You have to target Kil'jaeden, I think.
Oh, we got
Please.
Why does it say?
Oh, you have to target the
Please,
boss?
team.
Oh my god, that's how this works?
Oh.
Oh, come on.
What?
An inevitable fate.
What?
Good job.
Why did mine pull?
Somebody taunt him from a car.
Generation beckons.
Right.
Are they just talking about it?
Why is one of you among who you think over there?
Your fate was
That pulls the
sealed
boss?
the moment you stepped into the nether.
What was it?
The Vantas rune.